Brought to you by stationhousecoffee.com and inspireddisorder.com/ting.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
500 Days of Summer, one of my favorite movies it's a feel-good movie that I love to watch. It's been a while since I've watched it, and I saw it pop up on, forget what streaming service it was on, but yeah, had to watch it, just one of my favorites, with, of course, starring Zooey Deschanel and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Two actors that I really enjoy, just the most adorable couple to ever be in a movie. Also a movie that has some great music in it. Temper Trap is, I don't know if they're still around, but the album and the song, this Sweet Disposition, just an amazing song that's all over this movie. And Regina Spektor, another great musician that I love, along with so many other great musical choices in this movie. But, in times like now where stress and depression and just not a lot of, new movies to watch, looking for some kind of escapism, 500 Days of Summer was the no-brainer choice for me to watch. And it's a good movie. There are aspects of the movie that I feel don't hold up as much. Kind of. I mean, it is what it is. But this movie is a lot about love. It's about new love. It gives you that feeling like it's such a good, it's an exploration of this relationship between Zooey Deschanel and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. They both work at a greeting card company. Joseph's initial plan was to be an architect, and he settled for working at this place. And Zooey Deschanel is kind of like this wanderlust kind of girl who's just trying to enjoy life and not looking for anything serious. But there's moments in this movie like when he has a crush on her and he overanalyzes every small detail. Like he finds out, like she makes a comment about liking the Smiths, like she can hear the music in his headphones, and she's like, "Oh, I love the Smiths." And then he just gets obsessed with trying to get her to notice him listening to the Smiths. Like so many small aspects of this movie that are like so true when you're in, that early kind of crush stage and you're trying to get the person you like to notice you because you're just shy or whatever, or it's a work situation. I don't know. Usually when I have a crush on somebody, I've gotten pretty used to going after it, at least making my thoughts known. But also would 100% do these small things, like because you want to do everything to not only get them to notice you, but also just to tap into that part of their brain that of stuff they like, and maybe if you can exist in that part of their brain too, maybe they'll like you. I don't know if that's the true breakdown of the philosophy of that kind of behavior, but I don't know. It's also, the movie jumps around between different parts because it's 500 Days of Summer. It's 500 days of this relationship, which isn't that long, a little over a year. Definitely it reminds me of relationships that I've had, specific things in a relationship, like going out with somebody or starting to go out with somebody, but they don't want to take it seriously, right? They're not looking for a relationship, but you are. Like I am. I'm more of a relationship guy. I'm not into the casual thing. And there's definitely been times where, I've ended up in relationships that ended up eventually ending because the other person's casualness of the relationship overtook whatever actual connection was there. And so this movie jumps around to different parts of the relationship, from the early stages of the crush to the kind of early stages of hooking up and just kind of really getting to know somebody and just the kind of loving every aspect of it. And then also towards the end when things are falling apart and you start to despise and hate every aspect of the person. Just one of those movies, just kind of shows the and it also gives like the reality versus expectation of so many things, like in your head thinking that doing a thing will lead to a certain outcome, when in reality it usually doesn't work out that well. But yeah, so much of this movie I love. It's also, I mean, just it's very much about the character of Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It doesn't really care about Zoe Deschanel, which I would say was probably the the biggest part of this movie that doesn't really hold up, that it doesn't really show the female side of this relationship. It is very much just focused on him, which is fine. It's not as balanced as I could see a newer movie being. Even though this came out in 2009, still things. I think there's more of an effort to show both sides of a thing, of a relationship. But because it's only focused on Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I relate to it completely. There's a scene after they first have sex, like the next morning, where it's basically like a Disney musical scene where he's just going to work all happy and everybody's like super happy and he's happy and the song's playing. There's little animated birds that come out. One of my favorite scenes in film, just like when that scene starts, it's just like, oh yes, it's been so long since I've had sex that it's like, oh yeah, that's what it feels like when you have sex with like somebody that you've been crushing on for forever. Not forever, but you've been crushing on, and then you finally are able to get that connection, and just how the high you have is just so high. I love that scene so much. There's also part of this movie is him growing as and trying to find what he wants to do with his life. Like the relationship, which I relate to so much, the relationship ends and it forces him to kind of reevaluate his entire life and change. Like when I left Costco, working there for 13 years, after a relationship ended and I was heartbroken, it completely made me reevaluate everything that I was doing, because I was really unhappy working for Costco. Despite them paying good money, it was just a horrible place to work and be around. So in this movie, I really relate. And when I fell in love with this movie, I was still working. Not only still working at Costco, but in the relationship that this movie reminds me most of. So it's kind of weird revisiting this movie now that it's been so long and I'm so disconnected. But part of that, the love I have for this movie is when he does start to reevaluate and go for being, becoming an architect, just starting to draw again, starting to put energy into what he loves, instead of putting his energy into trying to make a relationship work. That's really only a one-sided effort. He's putting energy into something he loves and watching that blossom. I even had, inspired by this movie and kind of miss having it, used to have a giant one of the walls in my studio when I lived in San Diego was a chalkboard wall, and it was inspired by this movie, because you can buy chalkboard paint. What I should have done is smooth the wall out, sanded the wall down so there's no texture, but that chalkboard wall paint is amazing. And this movie has it where he's like, one of his walls in his apartment is a big giant chalkboard wall, and he does like this great big architectural drawing on it. But yeah, just following his dream and kind of following the things in life that are going to make him happy, and not expecting a relationship to be that thing, which I think is fair. I don't think people that are unhappy that think that a relationship is the thing that's going to make them happy. And maybe it will, maybe that's the thing that's missing from your life, but it's nice to go into a relationship if your life is kind of on a path that you're happy with. But yeah, I really enjoy this movie so much. If you haven't seen it, it's good. It's the music, it's good. It's just kind of a light, fun movie, even though there's like depressing parts, the parts of when a relationship goes bad and you're heartbroken. but it also mixes in very well just all of the emotions that are involved with a relationship, whether they be new or old. Not a long-term relationship. That's completely. It's not like Marriage Story kind of exploration of relationships, but it's very much just kind of that new, especially when you're younger, that new kind of feeling of like, oh, this is amazing. Life is brilliant. But go ahead, go check out 500 Days of Summer. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I love it. It's one of my favorites. Be sure to check out and support our sponsors, of course, stationhousecoffee.com and Station House Coffee on the Instagram for small batch, single origin, premium coffee brewed in Vermont and shipped directly to you. Get some high-quality coffee, support small business, and support the show by going to stationhousecoffee.com and follow Station House Coffee on Instagram. Also, get $25 in credit with your new cell phone service over at Ting. Go to inspireddisorder.com/Ting. That's Ting. It's where you get $25 in credit for best coverage in the world. Same low rates, now with 3 coast-to-coast networks. I use Ting. I love it. My cell phone bill is minimal. It is like, it's so low, like $20-30 since this quarantine started. So you can get basically a month of service if you're living my life when you go sign up now over at inspireddisorder.com/Ting. That's Ting for $25 credit. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Go binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder. Buy new merch over at inspireddisorder.com. Follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!